Welcome back, everybody. We're here once again with the Overwatch Contenders 2023 Summer Series here in NA. I'm here, Hunter Tane. I'm here once again with Biscuit. We just had an absolute giga banger of a match between Good Boys and we just had a giga banger of a match. That's all I gotta say. I'm still like wrapping my head around the match that we just saw between these teams, and it just lived up to the expectations. Even though both these teams were 0-2 at the time, Amplify put up a heck of a fight. Good Boys did too. And after that, now we have another match that has to follow that up, and that's going to be Good Boys versus Strix. Now, Biscuit, Strix just had their own match just a little bit ago, and while they didn't go to a map 5, they did manage to beat Dragon Dance in a 3-1 situation. Now, a quick reminder again, Dragon Dance was one of the teams that has already beaten Good Boys in a map 5 scenario. So right now, if we're talking on the list of the hierarchy, we have a 1-2 team going against a 2-1 team, where one team that has beaten that 1-2 team has lost to the. It's a whole convoluted situation, but that is the easiest way to go about it. Is saying that Good Boys is potentially, just on paper, not quite on the same level as Strix, who has done a really good job so far. So, kind of in your perspective, how do you think that Good Boys can kind of take the momentum from this last match and start to like punch above their weight here against Strix?
As just what you were talking about, and before I say anything, hello to the stream again. Good Boys fans, good to see y'all. And again, giga banger of a match. I'm still reeling over that one, but hey, we're going into another one, and this is going to be a good one because as you were talking about, Strix beating Timeless, which I'm just gonna say, Timeless, one of the best teams right now. Like, and of course, not your Overwatch leagues, not your that kind of stuff, but like minors, for example, Calling All Heroes. They won the major, and imagine just having that team be beat up by Strix, and then they won against Dragons, which, as you were talking about, this is a team that had a really close set with with Good Boys, and just by knowing that, you know that they are probably going to have a really tough match here on the side of Good Boys. However, we just saw them play one of the best games they've played, and they're coming out of like what was a loss streak and turning it into a 1-2. Strix, of course, isn't one of the top teams right now. Of course, getting on their way over there, like objectively. Paris in Pajamas, of course, is still dominant, but right now they're in the middle of the pack, and Good Boys are making their way back up. And if they can win this, Hunter, they are going to get up on the up on the scoreboard really fast. So this is an important game for Good Boys. And with momentum on their side, although they might be punching a little bit up, there is a good chance. I mean, we just saw them play Lijiang. They played an amazing brawl comp, and they played all three maps with what's it called. They played all three maps with Brawl, so they could be going on with this comp, and I do think that they will do good with momentum and knowing how they played it. I think they could have a really good chance. However, Strix, of course, extremely solid team. So this is a tough matchup, but not one that I would call impossible. Not one that I would say, yeah, it's over for Good Boys. So all good luck to them. And our first map is going to be Lijiang or Ilios. I think it's Ilios, right?
It's going. We are around 4, so now it's going to be Lijiang,
Oh
which
yeah.
is kind of funny considering we just had the map 5 on Lijiang, so we're gonna have a bit of a deja vu situation. But the real part about that's interesting is, once again, they had just won that map. Good Boys had just won this on that 2-1 situation, especially after having a devastatingly one-sided garden map. Which now it comes into question: what happens if control points are a little RNG depending what you get first? But if they get that garden point first, that could be a really big advantage and a big confidence booster for Good Boys if they manage to not only get garden first, but then win that. Because even though they proceeded to lose Night Market, that was still a really close map for them. Or not Night Market, Control Center. It was still really close. They got to 99 every single time, and they just happened to get to 100% on 2 of those points. So I guess that is the question: is can they carry that momentum into a map that they had just won, but even just barely on one of those maps?
I think they totally have the chance. Like as a team, when you win one map, when you win a game, you're like on cloud nine, and you're excited. And good boys, they know what they signed up for. They are playing 2 games every day. So it's not like they're taking. They're not. It's not like they're taken by surprise. Like, oh, we have to play another game. No, you know it, and you won your first one. You can go into another one, and you just beat a team that was on your same skill level. So right now, Strix a little bit higher, just purely by statistics. Of course, I'm not judging it from the beginning. Like, oh, they're losing, or oh, these are just better. But we've seen that the scoreboard is very, very influential. We saw also a little bit of a swing on which teams have lost, which teams have won. Pirates in Pajamas, which were dominating, they just lost their first match today. So, not everyone is unbeatable, and being winless does not mean you're not winning at all, and being at the top does not mean that one team is gonna catch you by it's not gonna catch you by surprise. So this could go either way. So honestly, if you're in here on the stream, you're more than ready for an exciting match. So again, as I was saying, don't blink because these matches are gonna go by fast. And Lijiang Tower, we saw that the good boys are a fan of that role comp, and I'm a fan as well. So I think we might be seeing it as well. Strix, I don't quite know what they play, but as we go into this one, I do think we're gonna be seeing a little bit of a repeat, and if we do see it, they definitely know how to play it. We go immediately into tower, which this map very divey, very brawly. It could go either way, Hunter.
Yeah, and as we saw, this was what we were talking about. This is Garden. This is the map that they had just dominated on about 10 minutes ago. So again, this is as much as momentum as you could hope for if you're good boys. And as you could see, not a ton of differences. The only difference being potentially the DPS, where Strix is going for these DPS that can kind of like necessarily, they can close on targets a little bit better, but I don't know if they're going to stick on it necessarily because they might just be TPing directly to point. Honestly, it's tough to say. We're just going to have to see if they stick on to this and how they're going to prepare themselves for this comp.
Good Boy is going the more traditional brawls comp. It's been meta for like the last 3 months, and Strix, just look at that. They choose a little bit like a pseudo dive comp. The Soldier does give him a lot of range. You can see it already here. That Disruptor does so much damage in the nice space, but Ryan Amazing looking very stuck here.
Yeah, that was a good cleanse to save them for that moment, but there was no follow-up to be able to get the heals in there and save them right now. But that's a really good closer right there by Krandop, who does manage to take out Noctis in that fight right now. A little bit of revenge being taken right now, and this should be a cleanup coming very quickly, but they have to get rid of Krandop. They're just getting consistent heals, and finally they're taken out. So Good Boys is going to win this first fight as the rest of Strix is kind of flooding in a little bit still. They need to try to get out of there if possible.
The Kiko has TP, they're gonna be able to get away. They use the Suzu, but they're stuck now. High Macing and Karoba, you're dead. There's nowhere you can go with that wall. This is not letting you off easily. And just as we were saying, Strix, they have a different composition, which means that they have to play it very differently. Taijong and Ryan Macing, they don't have the amount of sustain, they don't have the HP, they don't have the means to get out as easily of bad situations like Thunder and Biz. So Strix is gonna have to play this one quick and get out really quickly because the Good Boys, if the fight goes on for longer, they benefit the most. Look at that. Taijong making a lot of space, and the fight is already starting again.
Yeah, that Pulse is ready to go, but the Coalesce is going to come on live first. Strix is going to have to back up, but the back up is not going to be enough, as Ryan Macing is going to be taken out first in this fight right now, as Strix is going to try to get out with the rest of their members intact. I don't think they can take this fight without them ready to go, so I think for now they just remain in this area. All charge, and Ryan Macing should not take long to get back as the Pulse comes out. No sticks today. Taijong gonna go around trying to damage Pascal a little bit, trying to force them out. Doing a really good job over here. The back line, that's 3 people hit by that, and there's no ults ready in the follow-up, and Ryan Macing just got soloed on that, but it's a cleanse. It's made completely inert, as Good Boys send a couple of ults into this fight, and ultimately meaning nothing right now, as they're not gonna find a single pick right now. Strix manages to pull around and win this fight, and they're gonna have quite a lot here in the ult bank.
And Good Boys, just as you were mentioning, they used their big ult. Salty didn't have to face a Kiriko last time, but now they do have to be really careful on when they use their ultimate, because the second that Karoba presses E, the entire team is safe. So a lot of timings are going, a lot of cooldowns are going to be forced if they want to get the ultimate value. Good Boys, they have their support ultimates, and they're going quickly into 3 ultimates.
Yeah, the overclock is sent in immediately. Both all beats already sent in as well, but it's Thunder who's going to be the first to go down. That's not what you want to see. They have the Death Blossom ready to go, but not anymore. And that stick is going to land right onto Pascal. That is the pick that they needed to find. It's a beautiful stick, a makeup from the last one. And the rest of the good boys is just going to have to escape with their lives. Noctis trying their best too, and looks like they are going to be able to survive. And now Strix in a bit of a weird position now because now there's no beat, and Thunder has that Death Blossom ready to go.
And the problem here is that Strix used a lot of ultimates, just as you were mentioning, and there's no other way. They have to use them because otherwise Good Boys captures point and they have to rush in. They have a bit of time here, Good Boys, but if they lose, this could be their second to last fight. They have the Colas, which is absolutely huge, and Thunder with that Blossom, just as you were mentioning, they could wreak havoc, but look at that, Brando, it's dying first!
That is a devastating loss to them right now. I don't think there's any way Strix can pull this back around. What it matters is how long they can stall out this point for. But with it just being Taejong left, it's not going to be enough to really stall this thing out. There's the last little touch by Avertings, but it's going to mean next to nothing right now. As Good Boys manages to hold on to that Death Blossom, and they're going to have freeze and potentially beat for this final fight. Strix is walking into a hell zone right now.
Crandrop cannot take the Reaper lightly, and look at that, already looking for a lurk. The team is coming from the other side, but the Blossom's gonna be absolutely huge, and the Rampages are coming online. The fight is starting, and this is going to be last fight for Strix.
Yeah, it's definitely going to be. Taejong is gone! There is no pulse bomb left for Strix. They're going to go through. Salty is going to find a couple people. Averting's the main target right now. They are going to hit the cleanse out and get the last minute touch. And now it's down for the follow-up. Krandop does manage to find one off of that follow-up, but it's just not going to be enough right now. Good Boys has managed to turn around this fight, and with only one member remaining, Taejong is going to throw down the pulse, nearly takes himself out in the process, and Good Boys manages to turn that back around. They don't even need the beat, and they're going to take round one here on Gardens.
Good Boys they can't, it's just, I do believe that Strix used a lot of ultimates to win the fight when Good Boys were at 70%, and using that many ults means that you absolutely need to win the next round. The next fight, I'm sorry. Because if you don't win it, you're going into next fight with no ultimates. And what do you do about it? It's all, you know, when the compositions are matched, almost equally, like you're playing Brawl, of course you don't have the Reaper, you don't have the Mei. A couple of differences, like Good Boys have more sustain, they can afford longer fights, but Strix, they need to win fights quickly if they are going to be spending ultimates like that. However, we're seeing a little bit of a switch. Strix switching over to the Ryan with the Symmetra. Really traditional comp is really strong Brawl, and Taejong on the Mei. It's gonna be a lot of problems for Salty, and we see the switch over to the BAP. More sustain, more damage. And Good Boys, they are gonna be running into a Ryan, which might throw them out a little bit.
It is definitely going to. They do have the advantage in this situation with this comp, but as I say that, Salty is going to get rid of the Baptiste first, and it's a very quick take for Good Boys again. Once again, despite, you know, Ryan being a decently good pick against the Junker Queen, they were so quick to collapse down after kind of trying to move in quickly for a target. That's really good focus there on Good Boys, being able to stop them from getting a single pick. And right now, Good Boys, they're going to start out and they're ticking up that percentage, as Strix is going to waste no time trying to get into this fight, as we're just going to transition right over right now. No ults ready, but they are going to pin in, finding nobody quite yet, but Salty, it's their job to try to stay alive on this point right now. That is their job right now. Right now, Thunder in the backline trying to do some damage right now. Salty is taken out first. That is not what they were looking for right now, as Thunder is going to try to escape with their lives right now. It's a very close to flipping over. It's going to flip over, and it's not going to be much left for Good Boys to work with right now. And even with Rymazing being taken out, Good Boys does have to do a very quick regroup, and the Colossus gets thrown in the Shatter too. It's gonna find nobody. That's so unfortunate. Right now, Strix is just throwing ults into the wind right now, and it's Good Boys that's just going to capitalize with one of theirs right there. It's still a very back-and-forth fight, but right now, it's just Avertings trying to hold on. They're going to invest beat as well. It's a very scrappy fight, and they need to be able to force Avertings off to this point right now. But again, the wall gets invested too. The freeze on top of that. It's a big back-and-forth. There's so many ults being used right now, but with Krandop, it might be enough to help them turn this part right now. Krandop is now the only one remaining, and even though they stall out for a pretty good percentage, that is a high ulted fight right there that Good Boys eventually wins.
Q after Q after Q, their keyboards have to be asking them to stop, and Taejong is not done either because they have their Blizzard coming up, and this is absolutely huge. Good Boys invested everything they have, so this might be a shut and open fight for Strix, but We
Yep.
go in and the freeze is invested. It's already going in.
Yeah, but it found nobody in that right now. They're going to go for the pin right now. Riz is going to be in a really bad situation as soon as they come out from that. They're getting swung away at right there. Riz is taken out. And even though Thunder does manage to find Verdings, it is Salty falling directly afterwards. And Good Boys can't even stall this out. The point is already flipped over. Strix has 50% in counting. And right now, the rest of Good Boys just has to try to back out for a minute to try to stay alive. And for some reason, Good Boys is kind of committing onto this right now. Oh, and Ryan Mazing goes for that pick right there. Ryan Mazing is one. They're just trying to force their way out. Ryan Mazing bit off a little more than they can chew, and right now it's just Karandov trying to move in and trying to stay alive. And somehow, Strix manages to fumble that situation. And with Salty now in the Doomfist, Good Boys manages to pull that back.
And they're on the Sojourn now instead of Thunder. They switch over to a pseudo dive comp. Like, Sojourn is able to follow up a lot on what Salty wants to do here on Doomfist. And no ultimates on 7-6 right now. But that Shatter, it needs to be huge if they want to retake, because winning this puts them on last fight. So as we go over in main, they have to push them out. They need to get a Shatter. The Shatter's huge.
So that is a big shadow, but Pascal does have the coalescence to be able to keep everybody alive. And oh, here comes Thunder. He's going from behind. He's looking for the picks. He's got one. He's looking for the second, but he's got to break that wall to do so. Taichung is caught out right now, but they do have the ice block to keep them up right now. It's still an even fight right now. They have to collapse in on Krandop here in a moment right now, and they're looking for it right now. And Taeyong is caught out in the freeze right now. The beat, though, is going to be the saving grace for Strix right now. As Good Boys is going to have nothing left to really capitalize on this. Their beat has to try to come in time, but it's Taeyong being taken out. There is no freeze left for Strix right now. And Good Boys is finishing up the last couple members of Strix right now. Nobody is left to contest, and Good Boys are going to win 2-0 this time on Lijiang in decently convincing fashion.
Good Boys, hey, history repeats itself. It's another 2-0 at the beginning, and we finally get to see the Salty Doomfist on in action. Absolutely amazing game from their side. I don't want to say anything, Hunter, but those fights were so scrappy. Like, of course, these guys are calling and everything's dying, but it seems so messy. Like, ultimates are being invested, and ultimately it goes on the side of Good Boys, and then unfortunately, when they try to retake on the side of Strix, the freeze doesn't find anyone. The wall is too much. Even when they get the Shatter, you can see the tank on the side of Strix try and get a pin on Doomfist, which that would be so much damage, but then they get booped off immediately by Noctis, who's just there to keep them up the whole time. Krandop never able to get their game started, and Strix, we were talking about Good Boys punching up, but honestly, this looks like a more even matchup than what I was expecting. I'm telling you, momentum does absolutely magical things. And I'm just saying, maybe for a couple games, we're gonna see if it ever goes to control at the end, like in future Good Boys game, they might just default to go in Lijiang, because this looks like their map.
Yeah, no, you're absolutely correct right there. They got more confident as it went along. We saw how it was kind of back and forth on two of the points in that previous matchup, but they dominated that Gardens and they won it again. That confidence has to be soaring right now, but that confidence might be taking a bit of a resting point, as right now Strix has decided they're going to go for Midtown. Now Strix, they have picked Midtown 2 different times, and both times they came away the winners of that matchup. So this is a map that they have not lost yet. This is their solid pick for this right now. And to my knowledge, Good Boys has not quite played this map, so we don't really know what's in store for them or how they're going to, what comps are going to play on this point. I think that potentially we could be seeing a Brawl switch up, and considering the swaps that are coming around, I think there may be a swap up. Maybe we're going over to the Poke, maybe potentially even the Dive, and it's these switches that are going to really come out. Because right now, we have Heon coming in for Avertings, which, as you saw, Avertings was on the Lucio. So I think potentially is we're coming back around to seeing the Brig Anacomp potentially. I think that's what we're going for. In the meanwhile...
Oh yeah? Yeah, keep going, I'm sorry.
You're good. But we have Shadow that is coming in for Kurova, and Kurova was playing the Baptiste. So these are both support swaps. So I'm very heavily predicting that we're switching over to the either Brig Anacomps or potentially something very similar, but I think that is what the meta is right now. And obviously we saw in the last game that's what they were confident in, and I think that both teams are going to stick with that. The main question is what else are they going to run on this? Because you can run Brawl comps on here, but it's a lot more manageable, especially on that second point, to run either a dive or a poke comp. So could we potentially be seeing Brawl again? Because remember, QWQ is not coming in. So there is no Sigma, which means we probably are just seeing either the Doomfist or the Winston dive. So in your perspective, what do you think Good Boys is going to attempt to pull out here? Or even more so, what do you think Strix strategy is that has won them this map twice now?
I mean, you already see the switches coming out, and if we're switching, that means that either something's not going right, like the manager, the captain's just like, okay, maybe there's not enough comms going on, you're a little bit distracted. It happens. Like, I've been a captain myself a couple times, and although I don't play on the same level as these guys ever, you need to switch people out because sometimes different comms do need them, and if we're seeing switches like these, that means that some people are just going to be playing different comms, and right now we saw a little bit of like a divey, like a brawl. So if we're switching them out, like maybe your flex support, maybe your DPSs, that means that in my opinion we'll be seeing a little bit of a dive. And Midtown, it does use a lot of that. First point, very hard to crack sometimes, and a brawl comp is usually needed. But as you were mentioning, second point and third point could go either way. Like dive is so sustainable during that long second point with the sidelines, with everything being a little bit clustered in the middle with the bridge and everything. But I don't wanna what's it called? Just think about it right now because there's a lot of things that could happen. Two switches already. Like we see Karoba going in. Karoba gets Shadow going in for Karoba and then Hyan for Abertings. So I think it's gonna be a wild swing in what they're gonna play. However, as you were mentioning, QWQ is not going in, so I don't think that we will be seeing poke from side of Good Boys because if someone is playing Sigma, it's going to be QWQ, who's absolutely amazing at the character. It could go either way, Hunter. It's hard to pin it down because Midtown, it could use a Sigma, you could use a dive comp. It's so sustainable. Like you can jump over a bridge and just go on the back line. You can use Brawl because Ramaj is extremely good at breaking the first point. And from then on onward, it's a mystery. But it does look like Strix is doing the adjustments that they think that they need to beat Good Boys. And maybe switching out two players who are not doing as well as you would want them to is the answer to what they need. And I'm just saying, the game started like a 2-0, and the game before this, the one against the one that they were playing, just that we were casting against Amplify, they lost the second map when they went to their opponent's choice. So I'm just saying this could be very similar to last game.
Potentially, but to kind of like reiterate, like when it comes to maps like these, they definitely have a set, not only a set comp typically, but a set of players that are going to go into that. I think regardless of the performance on map 1, I think these supports were going to be swapped out regardless. Mainly speaking specifically because it was going to be such a major comp change. This tells me once again that they're going to get off of the Brawl and they're going to dedicate to the Dive instead. They could still try to run Brawl on the first point, just to try to break it open. As you said, it's a very tough point to go through, and Dive doesn't have the best of a time there until they manage to get out into the open. So I'm still pretty heavily relying on this fact that they're over to this Dive, and I think these swaps, like I said, they're just for the fact that this is who works better during this comp. Not necessarily an aspect of skill or just how the momentum's working. You don't want to go swapping around players just because you've lost a map. I think that's a very it's an easy way to tell that your opponent is panicking when they start swapping a bunch of people around. But Strix, obviously, they're a 2-1 team. They've won this map multiple times. They know what they're doing on it. So right now, I'm putting faith into the system that they're making these swaps because this is the best possible comp that they can run.
I do think, and I'm gonna bet on just having Brawl going during the first map. I think it's gonna be well during first point. I would say. Because you need something to break through, and then after that second point, I do think we're gonna be seeing a little bit of a dive. It's what most teams have been going for, and it's a really sustainable comp. And Strix, they looked like they were kind of committing. They were playing Sojourn, they were playing Tracer. Both DPS are extremely good for dives, and Sojourn offers a lot more range. So I think we'll be seeing something a little bit more in that nature. And I'm just saying, we could see what's it called, the Doomfist again from the side of Salty. And I would be excited for that. But yep, as we see Midtown with that beautiful music, we're going in, and I'm just saying, Good Boys going against a team that is extremely confident on this map. It's just like Amplify and Numbani. So good luck to them. They have a lot to prove here because they might just win 2 in a row, as I was saying, and they might get up there. And if Strix wins, they might become one of the top teams right now. So there's a lot on the line here. Of course, we're not in playoffs yet, but you know, this is what sets the momentum. This is what sets how things are gonna play off going forward. So good luck to both of them. And in 15 seconds, we're gonna figure out what's gonna happen to both of the comps.
I still feel confident about this this dive call potentially. At the very least, I think we are going to see that break on a composition. We might potentially see a Kiriko over on the defensive side potentially, but we're gonna see what they're coming out with. And I'm right. There is Kiriko, not on the defense though, and they are still running the brawl. So I'm a little confused on a couple of the sides here. They made the swaps out of both supports for Strix, and yet they're still running a brawl style comp potentially. We'll wait a moment to see if they make the full-on changes, and they're playing with us a little bit, Biscuit. They're playing with our emotions right now.
Hey, caster abuse, I'm telling you. So players don't think about us, but you know, good boys, they are more than set on their comp. Hey, I'm just saying, Hunter, we were praying and our prayers have been answered in full, like a double fold, triple fold. They're playing Brawl every time, and I love it. I live for it. Strix, I'm just saying, this is the comp that they were running at the beginning of Lijiang, and it didn't go quite as well. But new map, new team, new everything. And look at that, we're already tired of 6-6 with Ryan Macing and the Sojourn. And if he gets a good railgun shot in there, it's going to be massive.
Yeah, and speaking of, Thunder got forced out very quickly right now. They're going to stay alive for the time being. They do have the team ready to get them out of that fight right now, and they're going to get mega aggressive on the Salty. Salty gets devastatingly low, and they're trying to stay alive, but the team cannot do so. There's just not enough healing output to do that. And with Salty dead, it is now a tied up 4v4, but right now they should have the advantage, but Biz is having none of it right now. They found 2 picks of their own right now, and they have turned around this fight. They're looking for that third right now, trying to get rid of the Tracer, getting devastatingly low, trying to close off the Junker Queen, getting away, and they are going to manage to do so. Krandop heading back to the spawn as the rest of Strix is going to have to back out for a moment, wait for the Junker Queen to get back, but that is a very good comeback.
That is a fight that I didn't think they would win. Like, missing your tank at the beginning is absolutely detrimental. That's how Overwatch 2 works. The second that you change the game to one tank, that tank has so much pressure on their shoulders. But this, they're chill. Like, they know they can kill them and they can win off of his picks. And look at that. Very good aggression onto the side of, oh, Kuban drop. They, oh, but what a pick. Something goes down early.
That was a devastating decision to try to go in that aggressively, especially when they did not have the Fade ready to go. The Pulse is going online. It's a good stick, but they do have the Fade. Pascal managed to survive for the time being, but they're chased down directly afterwards. They're going to send in the freeze, but it's a perfectly timed cleanse that's going to prevent anybody from actually getting frozen. And now, once again, while Fizz is trying to, once again, bring this fight back from the depths, it's just not going to happen this time. And with Salty being the last one taken out, I don't think Good Boys are going to get another contention here. And Strix is going to cap with about those 2 minutes in the time bank, but maybe I'm wrong. Pascal just decided, no, let's give a little altar. That's a fun idea, and that's going to be a bit of a stagger.
Pascal tripped on the stairs and they don't get to contest. You know, Moira needs a break. And the Good Boys, they're not looking good here. Like, look at that. Cran drop already has a rampage, and they have no Kiriko to play around. And they don't even, they have their own beats, which could be massive, but Strix looking really dominant here. They will also get their DPS's ultimates as well. Thunder with the Death Blossom could find a really good pick onto the Lucio, which I don't know. The ultimates are equal, but it feels like Strix has the advantage just because of the Kiriko.
Yeah, and they're going to move in pretty deep here. He's going to TP up top. That's a really good TP, actually, the position that they were looking for. Thunder has that all ready to go. They're looking for the Death Blossom right now. It's the Overclock that's coming online instead, and it's the Beat that's going to save them. The Beat is going to save the Kiriko as well. Shadow barely managing to survive right now. It's the supports of Strix that are fighting to stay alive, and that fight to stay alive ends up paying off as multiple members of Good Boys are down. With Thunder taken out, that's a lot of your damage power taken out right now, as the remaining members of Good Boys have to die on the cart, and Strix is going to keep this payload rolling.
Strix showing why they want to play this map, and a couple of changes instead of Good Boys. The Ashe comes out to play, which we didn't see at all during the 5 maps that we were casting just a while ago. And while no ultimates are instead of instead of Strix, Good Boys are looking kind of strong, but Salty a little bit of life support. The coalescence will be absolutely huge though, and it's coming out already.
Yeah, they're looking and they find that pick onto Lucio. These were the picks they desperately needed to slow down the momentum, and they have come through. It's a relatively quick fight, and all they invest is that coalescence, and that's thankfully all they need is they're finally going to set back up top. They finally have the ability to stop. Oh, and Shadow gets out with this sliver of HP as well. That could have been a great stagger, but regardless, good boys, now is their opportunity to start a hold.
And using Coalescence to win a fight is not that much of a problem if it's the only thing you use, and the other team as well. Like, it looks like it's a disadvantage, but you get it so easily. And Glitch right, he's getting a little bit caught out, but they're able to get out, oh, just by a second that the Kitsune comes out already.
Yeah, exactly. The freeze is ready to go. They're going to throw it down, and Electra will come into it, but that, once again, that cleanse is ready to go. It's perfectly timed every single time. And the fight does manage to even out, but the problem is Strix is still pushing that payload right now. And all that's left is the supports. Noctis has to try to survive, has to try to get out with their life right now. They have to try to help each other out. Moomoo Thunder is going to be coming back on the Tracer to try to help contest this payload. And they are going to get back here in time. And I think Strix does not have the members right now. I think they need to slowly back up and regroup before they fully head into this. And now they definitely have to back out after losing their Sojourn. Right, Amazing kind of getting caught out a little bit there is good boys. Once again, they're stabilizing.
Noctis and Pascal, there's a reason they haven't been switched out. They play so nicely with each other, and they just hold down the payload, making so the Strix cannot contest. The Rampage is gone, and we saw during last fight, they beat it up Kiriko Suzu, and there's nothing they can do against Salty's ultimate. And Thunder already killing the Kiriko Shadow, you're gone, and that means that this is going to be Strix on a bit of a stagger. They can't contest, and they're going for more picks, Hunter.
Yes, they are. And right now, all the back cap attempting it, they knew it instantaneously. They went back there right now, and right now, Taichung is in a weird situation. They're trying to get out, but they're not getting out. And again, Biscuit, it's just becoming stagger after stagger. These last two fights haven't even been fights. They've just been dying one after another right now. Strix has to do a full regroup, or else they're going to be keeping up with this for the next minute.
Absolutely, and good boys, look at that. What seemed to be like bad ult economy is already fixed. They have 4 ultimates, and Salty's not being left behind. If they can bait the Susu again with Business Blizzard, it's like choose your poison. Are you dying to this? Are you dying to the freeze? Are you dying to the poison? To the anthem? Like, it's so bad. And Strix going in for the fight.
Yep, they're going in the freeze very quickly. This time the freeze is not going to be able to stop Crandall, but it is going to, but it doesn't matter. There's so much focus on the Crandall that it doesn't even matter. Everybody closes in. They're taken out of the fight. The pulse is going to come online. It misses, but Salty's 1 health. But right now, this has turned into a devastating situation for Strix right now. After they had such an amazing start right now they have to try to get somebody to touch the point, and it is the Sombra. The Sombra is on the point right now, so they're going to back up, back over to the point. And they are going to try to force it away, but right now the problem is that a lot of good boys just got split up trying to go back to the point right now. So now it is Strix who has the advantage right now. They have to try to force off the Lucio who is on that point right now. And they're going to try to get the touch again, and they are barely going to manage to right now. And right now it's just 2 remaining members left trying to touch. Crandup is already 1. They're trying to keep them up. The Sombra though can't do everything. And after what was looking to be a dominating display from Strix, good boys with an amazing hold here on second point.
I will say that if you're a fan of Strix, do not worry either, because this is quite normal in Midtown. Like, getting past that bridge section is extremely possible. And right now where we're at, you see the payload right there? That's usually where it stays most of the time in competitive games. It's not easy. And Good Boys did a good job because they were dealing against a really large time bank against Strix, and they managed to pull it back. During that last fight, however, it's all Pascal and Noctis dying first, which gives them the win, ironically, because Lucia just comes back immediately, and Pascal, you know, they have faith, they go faster. So, really good series of fights that they take, and Strix just not quite able to find their footing. It's just stagger after stagger after stagger, and it looks like, oh, hey Hunter, it looks like we have a little bit of a Diverino comp against the Brawl.
I do love myself a Winston, but I do question this choice a little bit. What this is going to come down to mainly, because they're going to try to hold this. What Strix is going to end up doing is they are going to have to let Good Boys come in a little bit. And what they're likely going to be doing is looking for either the hack on Noctis or Pascal, is what they're going to have to do. But Thunder seems to have some kind of premonition and has decided to go onto the Reaper, which is going to spell a lot of doom for Krendop. So this is basically just going to come down to, can Strix perfect this dive? Can they keep focusing down the support?
Right, and it's just going to be the Sombra, which is going to be the deciding factor in these comps. Sombra, extremely influential DPS, and if they can get a good hack going against Shadow or Hyon, which probably will be the target for most of the hacks, that is going to be absolutely huge. And the Sombra positions, the Monkey knows that they are around, but the spy check fails. Sombra's in the perfect place to start setting up their game, and the Monkey's hacked. Immediate fight breaking out.
Yeah, immediately right now, as right now, they do manage to get some damage out, but it's Pascal who's going to dive first, and this is exactly what I was talking about. The dive came on through, they found exactly who they were looking for, and with Noctis anti right now, they're trying to stay alive, and it's a desperate attempt right now, as the rest of Good Boys is being forced over into this little corridor right now. And it's not looking too good for them, as they just have to try to escape with their lives, as Taichung gets a little too greedy sticking around, and now there's that momentum swing that Good Boys was looking for. They're looking for their next target right now. They're going to force out Rye Mazing. And right now, it's just poor old Winston trying to get out of there right now. They're going to manage to do so as Strix, they should have a recontestment here, and they do have the Nano ready to go. So I imagine Krendop is going to get that and jump on right to the back line. It is a big hack right now, and those were the picks they needed. Amazing picks right there, but it's Thunder who's trying to bring this back, and it's the DPS of Good Boys that has brought this back and made it a 3v3. The EMP is going to come online. They're going to find one right now, and what's going to happen? It's such the back and forth right now, but it's only one left, and it's a Sombra, and they're not going to be able to recontest. So Good Boys gets a nice little reset here, and they have that EMP ready to go.
Strix has the death combo. The second that they hack someone, if they're anti, there's nothing you can do. No abilities, no faith, you're anti, what do you do? And right now, Biz has an EMP. They are set up and point. They get fined a little bit, but they are not pulling through on the punish. And they help out their tank. Sleep is going to have such a good time with this one. Salty, sorry.
That's devastating. Hyon taken directly out of the fight. Shadow is following directly afterwards. And even though they are going to lose Noctis, I think the damage is already done. Krendop is going to send in their own ultimate, the Primal Rage, trying to kick around somebody. But with Pascal holding on to that Coalescence, I don't even think they're going to have a real contestant here right now, as Krendop's the last touch right now, the last line of defense, and it's just not going to be enough, as the rest of Strix is either going to be taken out or is going to have to quickly try to make their way to the high ground. And after that sleep, Salty is going to take a little bit of a nap after a successful fight.
Hey, they deserve the rest because they were absolutely running into Strix's backline. They are not able to do anything, and as I was calling it, I said it a million times, if Viz gets a good hack on Hyon or Shadow, there's nothing they can do. And then Pascal is fading on your backline, and then Salty is just running at you swinging Carnage. It's so impossible to defend against it, and you don't have the Kiriko. So that means that Salty has free reign over what happens next with Rampage. And if this is a good Rampage Hunter, we might see a bit of a quick offense.
Yeah, definitely. They want to try to make this quick. Strix is the team that needs to act first right now, so it's up to Good Boys to try to prevent that. They're going for the Death Blossom. Oh, it's a devastating sleep. Shadow, you get some goals after that sleep right now. That's exactly what they needed right there. And Strix should be able to take over this fight, but right now, Good Boys hasn't managed to inch away some progress. That's massive. That's 4 players hit by that. They just need to find the follow-up, but nobody is dead right now. And both support ults were held. They're ready to go. You're going to see the rally come online, the EMP as well. And it is eventually going to spell the end for Good Boys. But Strix, they invested a lot of ultimates into that fight, especially when Good Boys have both support ultimates right around the corner.
Strix uses EMP and it hits 5 and it's basically a lost fight. But even though you won that, you're not winning the war. They have beat and they do have Coalescence, but we do have to remember Thunder got slept out of the Blossom, so no big damage ultimates and Thunder gets cut out here so early. And Good Boys, they need to run back because there's no fight happening. 20 seconds in which Strix needs to get this space.
Yeah, and that's an EMP on their side. They're trying to invest in this fight despite losing someone. And there's so many that are low right now, and they need to find the follow-up right now. Pascal has gone through. You saw them going through on the Coalescence, trying to pick up somebody in that fight, and they are going to manage to help get rid of a couple of people. And for Strix, it's coming down to the wire. They only have 3 people remaining. Right now, Hyon is getting both pelted down in the back line. There is nobody coming to the rescue, as it's just Crandall that has to try to hold on to this point. They're the last line of defense to try to get this touch right now, but they're gone, taken away from the fight. And what's left of Strix is trying to hold on here, but nobody is gonna get the touch, as Good Boys have taken Strix down on their main map. and now they are match point in the series.
I'm sorry for the disrespect, but it looks like they were not punching down at all, Hunter. They are more than ready. Like, of course, a lot of it does come down to how they are playing, but a lot of Strix's plans just haven't been working. They've been using a lot of ultimates on fights that they cannot win after, and that is the problem. Like you saw during, and we did say it. We see two ultimates being used. We see the EMP, and we see like their support ultimates being used, like Rally, for example. And then like, what do you do for next fight? How do you defend against Rampage? How do you defend against the EMP? How do you win against Coalescence? That is 8 seconds of constant heals and constant damage. Moira, not the best healer in the game, not even close to Kiriko, but if she has ultimate, your team needs an answer. You need an EMP to shut it down. You need your Sombra to be on top of it, but alas, they are not able to shut it, and just losing to ultimates that they have no answer to. And that is one of the things that has been repeating itself. Strix also lost a couple of fights during their previous map in Lijiang, thanks to just good boys having better ultimates than them, doing some fights and then winning them one at a time. The tempo is just always swinging in their favor. And good boys, as you were saying, beating them in their signature map is not a good look. And next map is going to be Escort, which could swing very wildly. I do think that Strix is doing well. Don't get me wrong. Like at attack, the first round of attack was so good, but then good boys just started striking first. Every fight was decided by them. If a fight happened, it's because like Salty is in front of you and he's like, okay, let's fight now. And we could go anywhere. We could go Eichenwald. We could go Sticker Real, as we saw. We could even see QWQ play this one, but
Yeah,
I don't know how this one goes.
well, if I was to take a guess, and once again, I'm looking back here at the previous matches. Remember how I said Midtown is a map they had never lost until now? Well, guess what? There's another map that they haven't lost until now, or potentially until now, and that is Circuit Royale.
Oh,
They have not locked it in yet, but they are 2-0 on that Circuit Royale. They definitely know how to play it. The question is, are they going to go against it after seeing how well Good Boys performed eventually? Now, that does come with a bit of a caveat, considering that Good Boys were probably a fight or two away from being completely full held, and they just managed to turn around the momentum. So the
oh,
question is,
and
did they do it?
oh, yeah,
Oh,
I,
they
I
did it!
have news for you. That is going to be a circuit pick.
Oh boy, they're
And you know
going
what?
with the
What that
confidence.
probably means? QWQ will be unchained, probably.
I,
So get
very
ready for Sigma.
likely. Yep, very likely the Sigma. We might see the supports come back on the swamp as well, potentially. Like I said, originally I thought it was because of simply the comp change, but there wasn't actually much of a comp change, which is what I was, questioning a little bit. And we do have the confirmation. The great news has come. QWQ is coming in to play the Sigma on this map. We're happy to see it. And speaking of what I said before about the supports, Korova is coming back in for Heian. That's something that again I was expecting right there. I'm not sure if we're getting any swamps outside of that right now. Good Boys seems pretty solid. They've only ever made the Salty and QWQ switch. They seem pretty solid with the group that they have. Very confident with it. You love to see that, by the way. So right now, the biggest thing right now is if you're Strix right now, you just played a map that you've been fully confident in, that you've won multiple times, and you've just lost it for the very first time. And now you're taking another map that you have only ever won before and never lost. Where does that confidence lie right now? Because this was the best map you could have picked. It's a map you haven't lost, it's one you've practiced a lot. But where does that lie? Are they going to be able to pick up that momentum knowing this is a good map for them, despite knowing what happened at the last map that was, once again, quote unquote, a good map for them?
I don't know. It's just I would usually be like, oh yeah, they have it down. They haven't lost. But we just saw that doesn't matter. Like a good boy is just running at you, and they want to take it. They want to go to sleep soon. They don't want another map 5. And they want a 3-0. And the way they've been playing, they deserve it. But as we go into circuit, just as you were mentioning, QWQ unbenched. You're going in, showing us that amazing Sigma gameplay, and not the full backline comes back for this one, Hunter. It looks like it will only be Karoba for High-On. So I do think, sorry, I do think that one of their other supports will not be showing a Birdings. It's gonna stay down for now. So I don't think we will see a bit of any sort of switch in comps. Like we will still be seeing the Sigma, double sniper, Babs, and Yara. That's how you play that map. And Again, you're saying it. They haven't lost, but they also won on this one, Good Boys, against a team that was really confident. So honestly, I don't think previous records matter because Good Boys is showing you that they don't. Like, what matters right now is the moment. It's right now. What is going on? Are we winning? Are we not winning? And it looks like Good Boys wants to win. So this map could be it for Good Boys. Reminding the audience, it's going to be best of three. And if Strix wins this one, then we will be going into push, which is a very it's a very intense map. Like this is when most teams crack down. It's a hard mode to play. So I do think that if Strix wins this, they might get the momentum swing that they need to turn this game around. But for now, Good Boys looking extremely solid. They are not switching their lineup. They know who they want to play, and that is what we will be going in with.
Yeah, exactly. And that confidence is exactly what they needed. And right now, like I said, Strix is kind of like you have to be like at some loss of confidence. I think, despite being in the situation that you're in, you're a contender team. You're a player that has been playing at this high level for who knows how long. You know how to hold it together in an 0-2 situation. There's, like I said, there's no way that we can count Strix out right now. This is a map they're good at, and despite the results, we're just gonna have to go in and see in a moment if they can pull this off. The big question right now is Krendop is going to be staying in, considering they are, again, the only tank for Strix. So Krendop is flexing to everything, which means they have to be able to match that Sigma against QWQ, who had a really good performance, as we said, in that last match on Circuit Royale. So what I'm looking forward to is how well Krendop can do in that matchup right now. Because despite the fact that we have to watch, Thunder and Blizz go back again at that Widow at Hanzo and see how Raimazing and Taijong can kind of match up with that, I'm very curious to see what Krandop can do on that Sigma to see if they could potentially match up with QWQ. Because despite everything, Krandop has done a good job on that tank. Good Boys has just done a really good job on collapsing. But this isn't a comp that is specified around collapsing. This all comes down to mechanical ability. That's what
This all comes down, as you were talking about, like it's headshot city, and if you're not crouching, if you're not avoiding those headshots, it's going to be over for you. And Good Boys, one of the advantages that they do have, and you were mentioning it as well, and I'm really interested in it, is that Kranda, they have to adapt to everything, and Good Boys, they don't. If it comes to a Sigma, QWQ is coming in. We're not forcing anyone on a hero they don't like, and if you're going up against a specialist, which is more of what QWQ is, then you might be in a little bit of trouble. But they do have a really big backline that they can trade in and out, so they have a lot of comfort in what DPSs are playing for Strix, and a lot of things can happen. Circuit Royale, very intensive on who hits the first shots, of course, but also comes down to tempo. Because this first section, as we've been seeing, the teams usually just poke out a little bit and they have to turn the corner. They have to move back a little bit. And then they need to force it out. And Strix, a bit of a troll.
They gotta be trolling around.
Yeah.
Gotta be. But Good Boys, we're seeing exactly what we saw last time right now. You see the Zen and the Baptiste. Thunder is back on to that Widowmaker. Lovely, lovely, lovely. And I imagine Taijong is going to be the one taking the Widow matchup. I don't imagine they actually stay on, but I get the feeling perhaps this isn't a troll. Perhaps they are going to try to go up and around. I don't know how that works in the sense of mechanics in Overwatch, but I wouldn't put past Strix to do something like that. But this is a no fun zone, so they're going to swap back over to the Widow, so we're taking that 1v1, and it's going to be a mirror matchup outside of that.
Right, Strix, it's a mirror mashup. I mean, we've been expecting this one, Hunter. It's Circuit Royale, a lot of good sidelines that you need to abuse with your Sigma spam, and it does give a lot of space to Thunder, Thunder and Riz, who have just been, absolutely stellar on the DPS today. And we see it already. We have to keep poking the first side of the middle, and then Strix has to keep moving forward until they reach the corner. That is when the real map starts to happen. A lot of poke, not many picks, which is ideal for both teams and not ideal at the same time. But look at that, the first shot's coming in and the first death.
Yeah, that's not the pick I expected to come through at all, but that is a good opening pick for Good Boys, but it is tied up because Thunder loses that 1v1 because Raimazing was looking for something, but it's Pascal who has picked up of the final blows so far, and right now they're going to collapse in. The rest of Strix is gotten rid of, and thanks to Pascal, that is a good first fight win for them. Despite them losing Thunder, they managed to hold on very well to that corner.
And you know that's the nature of Overwatch 2 as well. Losing your support early is one of the biggest problems that you can get into. And Noctis played aggressive with that Inmort. You know, they want to get the full sweep. They don't want to just leave it at just getting one pick and get out. And that is the kind of aggressive gameplay that you're wanting to expect out of both of these teams. And Good Boys, ever since they got that first team ace, now they get to have their window and they get to have their Transcendence coming online extremely quickly. They go for a cheeky shot instead of Taijing. It doesn't quite find them. And the ultimates are coming online. They have the Transcendence and, you know, Crandrop, they need to get a really good ultimate.
Yeah, and they do have that ready to go. As you said, that's a good rock right there, but the healing is there. It is ready to go. Good Boys has all those ults online first, but Shadow is going to use them. They're going to use them at the same time, but it's the Transcendence difference right now. And even though it's tied up, Good Boys just needs to collapse in on this. And they're going to invest more ults into this. It is a bit of an over-investment for Good Boys. And what is this? Krendall is going to use the ults in this situation, despite only having a Baptiste to keep them up. That is a very questionable decision right now, and it does not pay off as right now. So far, Good Boys has won this fight, and despite the ammo, they're going to try to finish off Shadow from up there, but Shadow is barely alive. Staggered super late. That's devastating for Strix, as Good Boys, despite the overinvestment, are going to have both DPS ults around the corner, and right now, Good Boys doing a phenomenal job so far at holding this corner.
And my caster instinct is telling me that Strix is gonna have a really hard time breaking through. They no longer have the Gravitic Flux, which is one of the biggest deciders on the matchup of who's gonna win. And based on Thunder, they have the ultimates walls. They may not, it may not seem like one of the best ultimates in the game, but it gives you so much information and easier shots. But look at that, Pascal dice immediately. The Transcendence goes online.
Yeah, the Transcendence, that's gonna be big for them. That's the difference that holding on to that ultimate does right there. And what's left of Good Boys is kind of just staggering around on point. Good Boys is not going to be able to bring up a recontestment here, despite the fact that they do get the pick on the Zenyatta. It's not really going to matter. There shouldn't be a recontestment, as eventually Strix is going to get it through after what was a very tough trying to get through that first point.
Randolph losing their ultimate so early, like using it only with their Baptiste, seemed like it was gonna cast some sort of doom, but it goes very well. QWQ gets a couple of picks, however, sending them back to spawn for now.
Yeah, QWQ, like I said, really good picks right there. Managing to get rid of Shadow, who has the Amplification Matrix online and ready to go. So I think we're just back to where we were at before right now, and Good Boys is going to try to hold this very first corner hard as, Thunder's going to try to do them dirty.
Oh, you know, you learn a lot from Widow players, but to be fair, you only get the funny shots like, oh, did you know you can shoot from here? But I don't care because the ultimates are coming in, and QWQ, massive Gravitic Flux.
Yeah, they sent it in pretty early. Again, they're acting first. They know how to go into this. And right now, the Amplification Matrix is wasted away right now as they die instantly after that. That's an unfortunate use right now as they're going to try to collapse it on the last couple of members of Strix sitting inside this little area right now. They're both amazingly low, and they are going to get rid of them, so that's a big stagger. And with 2 minutes and slowly counting down, Good Boys, once again, having a fantastic hold on this first corner.
Biz just jumped through the window and got a big shot on the side of Shadow. Just shutting that window out is going to be extremely massive because, like, you know, spam comps, they really need that double damage. And, you know, although that's not the end of the world, it could be worse. Noctis has their window. Oh, right, amazing, what a shot.
That is a good shot. Biz had that for a moment there, and it's a really good comeback. And right now, it's up to Pascal if they're going to decide to invest the Transcendence or not. It is a heck of a choice to go for it or not, but I think they have a moment to kind of wait it out and wait for it to get their last member back. And it will be a 5v5 situation here in a moment, as Pascal is back and ready to go. The Transcendence is here. Biz also has the Dragons ready to go right now, but who needs a Dragons when you can hit those kind of headshots? Biz getting rid of Krandop right now, and once again, Good Boys is going to attempt to capitalize on this right now. Shadow's taken out shortly afterwards on that right now, and it's just going to be the rest of Strix trying to escape with their lives, but Taijong is going to be unsuccessful, but the rest of Strix will be, as we are down to 50 seconds. One fight, potentially, at this point, going to that last fight territory.
And one of the biggest deciding factors on who's gonna win this one is Pascal's ability to just be disciplined. They didn't use the Transcendence when they didn't need to, and now they have it for this fight. Now you can just sustain through the whole plate, you can sustain through the Dragons, and the Dragons comes out early from the Good Boys. It shuts them out for now, and it's only going to be 30 seconds for Retain, making this the last, potentially the last fight of the game.
Yeah, and Biz is very low for a second, but it doesn't matter because Thunder manages to get rid of Shadow, and right now they're going to throw everything into this. The Transcendence comes out, but it might be coming out a little too late right now. Good Boys have the advantage. They just need to collapse on right now, but it's Taizong. It's going to be the story of Taizong, who needs to get this blade and needs to find the targets. That is what they're looking for. They're at 98%. They have this ready to go, and it is 100% going to come down to them for this fight. Can they successfully hit this blade? That's what we're looking for right now. They are going to up. They are going for it right now. They're going to send it out. They're going to try to deflect, get rid of that, but they can't really find anything.
The damage.
Take it out. Oh, no. Genji just have a tough time against this backline. And with that backline, and getting rid of the Genji, it's just a slow bleed away from Strix. And they're going to get held here just before a second checkpoint. And Biscuit, Good Boys, they have the winner's circle ready for them. They are this close to potentially sweeping this series.
They are ready to go to sleep. That's what I'm telling you. They've seen their bed and they want to go back to it. If you're running into QWQ, such a good Sigma player, you need to have a plan, Hunter. That's all I'm gonna say. And that fight is just, again, decided by that Transcendence that Pascal was able to save. And then the blade just doesn't quite find anything because Noctis has that window on you and the double damage. Even if you're Genji, even if you can deflect, if for a second you get touched by anything, by a singular headshot from Bav, right? A singular headshot from Senyara, you have to down HP, you're down to half HP, and what do you do about it? So the team comps are going to remain the same, and now it's just going to be, will Good Boys be able to break the unbeatable maps against Strix? Again, they didn't lose, as you were mentioning, and now they are just not looking as confident as they should. Of course, they get the payload to a really good spot. Circuit Royale, very defensive map. Just look at the comps. Like, Poke, naturally good if you don't have to be moving forward, but still, this could be entirely doable for Good Boys if they are able to get their game online. And Thunder and Riz have been getting such good picks. That's all I have to say.
No, you're entirely right about that. And it was a bit of a display because we talked about the last map and how they almost did not get out of that first corner. And to have gone from not only full capping that, but then holding on very well to that second point, even the first point for a very long time, it's something I didn't completely expect out of them. But I'm more than happy to see it, as right now it's Strix on the defense. They're the ones that need these picks, that need to hold this first corner for as long as they possibly can. Right now, you're City Thunder trying to set up for a shot here in a moment, and that's something they're going to need to do. If anybody's going to do it, it is going to be Thunder, as QWQ doing a good job trying to hold on to this corner. Grandop not letting him get any further though right now, but the shield being taken out. Light stop him for the moment being right now. And again, it's just waiting for that opening pick right now. Biz is coming in, trying to break down that shield, trying to open up the comp right now. Grandop does get low. The Immortality Field does get forced out first, so it's going to be out for Strix and gotten rid of. And you see over there on the side, the Hanzo trying to get away. That Biz got headshot there. They got saved by the Immortality Field. That's massive for them as the Hanzo 1v1 is happening on the side. Biz, though, is not going to come up the winner of that one right now. Amazing managing to find that pick, and it's slowly falling over into the favor of Strix right now. It just comes down to can Thunder hit that headshot, and it doesn't look like it's going to happen, as Strix is going to hold on to this first corner and get this first fight win.
That is, I'm just saying, this corner is the place in which most of the game is going to happen for first point. Getting the beginning is so easy, but the second part is so tough. And Good Boys, they have the ultimate here on the side of the window. Like, if Noctis is able to set up enough damage from the snipers, that might be more than enough to dissuade them from coming back. And the Discord Orb is already on top of them, and the window comes out already to play. It's going to be a very early fight.
Yeah, they're being very aggressive with it as well, but they're not going to find any picks quite yet. All of it, they used 2 ultimates and they got no picks. Meanwhile, Pascal is going to go in with this off ultimate. Pascal is trying to push his team in to get into this opening. The Dragon's going to come out. It's going to find nobody right now, and it's Good Boys that's going to have the advantage with their own amplification matrix right now. Pascal that's going to be taken out first. Taizong gets a nice headshot right now as QWQ sees a big group of people looking, waiting to get fluxed right now, but it's a little too late right now, as there's no real follow-up left for them right now, and Good Boys is getting halted here right now. It's the same as we saw on their match earlier. They got held here so hard, and now it's the question is, can they pull off another miracle?
It could happen. QWQ used their ultimate, which is a bad news because Rabbinic Flux is one of the main ways in which you're going to get through, and the early picks, but early picks haven't been happening. Like, Tai Jung has been playing so safe alongside Right Macing, and Strix just doesn't want to die, and look at that, they get their own pick up to Thunder, who's been switched to the Sojourn. No more double sniper, which we didn't see at all during which you don't see at all during this map. You need the range, but they are confident on it. And no ultimates in a set of Good Boys. This is absolutely a miracle that they have to pull off. And we see the Gravitic Flux on the side of Strix. Pascal, you need to get your Transcendence really quickly.
Yeah, and the Transcendence isn't around for Strix, so right now it's down to Good Boys. It's down to him to hit Bliss to try to, or Biz, to try to hit that. And that is a very good pick for them right now, but the fact that they don't have the Transcendence online, it means that they're going to lose a member right there. We are going to see Thunder being taken out. It's even to back up right now, though. They have the ability to win this, but they have to push through. But that Amplification Matrix is what's going to spell their doom on this fight right now. And if you're what's left of Good Boys, you have to die, get out of there. You only have one fight left to go. And even though Strix has nothing, Good Boys is just swapping around their comp. They're swapping around, they're panicking a little bit right now.
It's just, I don't think there's any way to not panic. You have like, what, less than 20 seconds on the clock and you need to break through, but they don't have the ultimates instead of Strix. And if the fight goes on for longer, they might just get them. Look at that, the window's ready, and there's going to be so much damage with the Thunder Sojourn.
It all comes down to this window. That's what it comes down to right now. They have to try to keep him up. That is a good first pick. It is Thunder hitting a nice railgun right there. And these picks, despite them being potentially panic picks, it is going to open this up for them. And the question is, are they going to push that payload, first of all? And the second question is, are they going to recontest? And it looks like they're not going to recontest, as Good Boys, they pulled off the second miracle, but they have to get this through to the second point, as right now, they're only 76 meters away from sweeping away this series, but they have to get there first.
And QWQ, they do have their ultimate online. They only use Noctis' window, which is absolutely huge, and some ultimates need to be invested here. They want to win. The Transcendence on the side of Good Boys gets used as well.
That's a questionable Transcendence right there. They might have been in a bad situation right there. The Immortality Field is taken out right now. QWQ devastatingly low right now. Taichung looking for the pick, finding nothing thus far. No picks around the board quite yet. It's a bit of a stalemate. Just waiting for that first pick to come through from either of the DPS right now. And there's the Flux coming up in the air. They are going to catch a couple of members right there, but nobody's going down quite yet. QWQ manages to eat that away right there. Almost gets rocked, and they're going to send out their own Transcendence, but it's not going to matter when Shadow's taken out. There is no Amplification Matrix left for them right now. No support ultimates right now, as Thunder wants to end this thing right here and now. They're collapsing on what is left of Strix right now. The Sigma trying to stand up, but Brandon can do no more. And Good Boys manages not only to win Sucker Royale, but sweep the series 3-0.
The series go to 3-0. Good Boys beat Strix on 2 of their unbeatable maps, and they do it on the last one with the Sojourn. They will not be kept in the Widow jail. They can play Sojourn just like anyone else can. And what a good game for Good Boys. What a good day. They just did the reverse of what happened yesterday. They might have lost 0-2, and now they won 2 games in a row, and one of them in extremely dominant fashion. Good Boys going up on the leaderboard so nicely. What a day for them, and just breaking through teams that are extremely tough. Like, of course, Amplify right now, keeping themselves at the in the lower part of the tier of the list, but Strix, they were right there, and now they've been beaten by Good Boys. And I'm just saying, Hunter, this is the kind of game that I like to see for a team that has been working so hard. They put QWQ in, and it looks like Secret Royale is just his map. They know how to play it, and even though they were looking, very not confident there, they brought it back just like they did with Amplify.
Yeah, exactly. But once again, we have that same scenario, and it goes almost the same exact way. Instead, they switch up the DPS, which I initially called a bad idea, and I think it's still a bit of an off idea, but they decided to try something, and that opening railgun kill is what opened it up for them and really helped them push through. So a lot of credit has to go over to Thunder and Biz, because despite having to make those swap ups, despite having a really hard time pushing that, they managed to make these swaps and then fully capitalize on them. So credit definitely has to go to them. They did a fantastic job, not only just during this map right here, but over the course of these two series, they've been putting up some really good numbers, some really good results, and thanks to not only their efforts, but the efforts of the rest of the team, they're now going to move up to 2-2 for the group stage right now, coming down from that 2 that they were sitting at previously before coming into today. So it's definitely a good bounce back for Good Boys right now, as things are kind of looking up for them now.
Thanks are very much so. Like they take the spot against Strix, who still have a little of a map advantage over them. But honestly, this is what you wanted. Like there are so many things going on, and this is just the win that they needed. You lose to one of the best teams, then you have another close loss, and then you win two extremely good series. That honestly, that's just what you want. And one of their losses, as I was saying, is extremely close, so not even bad for them. I think the team is just like highly motivated, and if I'm not mistaken, this is going to be the last day for this week, and a very good way to close it out. Of course, not ideal. You didn't get your 4-0 as you would have wanted, but 2-2, extremely respectable. And one of those losses against Pirates in Pajamas, which is looking to be the top two team or top one team right now. I think you're doing good. Good boys. Just I'm extremely happy for how they played and just we got to see QWQ again on that Sigma Noctis and Pascal. What a trusty backline and Thunder and Biz doing so much work on that DPS. I don't know, Hunter. This was just an absolute awesome day to cast for.
No, it was a fantastic thing. We had the fantastic map 5 at the beginning to really get us going, and I almost say thankfully, Good Boys wanted to go get some rest and sweep this one away into that 3-0. Biscuit, not only have our throats been saved, but we have been thoroughly entertained by these two matches, and I could not be happier.
Absolutely. And the thing now is that we get to just, end for the night. I think everyone's kind of tired, If you're on EST, it's like 11 right now
Oh,
over there, so
we're struggling here on the East Coast.
yeah. So everyone deserves a little bit of rest, which is why we're gonna just grab things out very quickly. Only thing I have to say, thank you all for having me. It's extremely awesome having the Timeless Broadcast project, letting us see so much talent that usually doesn't get shout out. So honestly, I think they deserve it. And if you want to check out more of me, more of Hunter, you have our socials down here. And Hunter, you have anything else you want to say before we close out?
All I can say is thank you guys for showing up. Make sure you show up next week. This may be the last match for this week right now, but next Monday at the same time, 8 p.m., we'll be starting up with the next series of matches. They'll be happening over the course of not only the Overwatch Contenders channel, but a lot of the actual teams channels on Twitch. So make sure to look out for that. It's coming next Monday, so be ready for it.
Absolutely.